MrBeast. I'm sure we've all heard of him, or even watched a video or two. It's not up for debate that he is the biggest YouTuber in the world. He has an innumerable amount of subscribers, and every video he uploads gets no less than 40 million views. Each video he uploads is always more insane than the last, and when his audience believes he has outdone himself to the max, he surprises them with yet another banger. But he wasn't always like this. He was once a regular kid like you and I, struggling to make ends meet. His dream of being a YouTube superstar got crushed over and over again, and the odds were constantly against him. Well then, how did MrBeast go from a broke college kid to an internet sensation? MrBeast was born in a relatively small town in North Carolina, with his younger brother and parents. However, MrBeast's mother was in the military, and she was on active duty for 21 years. Thus, MrBeast had to constantly move from place to place, and he never made long-lasting friendships. With not much to do, he spent most of his time playing with Legos. It was at this point MrBeast started developing some of the traits that would later shape him and help him become who he is today. For instance, obsessiveness. When he was playing with Legos, he refused to do anything else all day but build massive Lego forts and fill up his entire room with them. When he grew older, he started to gain an inclination towards baseball, and he would play for weeks on end, doing nothing else but practicing until he became exceptional at the sport. Whatever he was passionate about at the time, he would let consume his life. When he was in school, he became obsessed with video games, and this led to his academic downfall. His grades started to suffer, and his parents began to notice, and they scolded him for having done so badly in his tests. It was at that moment he realized he did not want to go down the same route most people do in life, and he wanted to do something huge. But what could he even do? He was only a child, he couldn't even make money yet. And even if he could, it would most likely be miserable and exhausting labor, since no one would trust a child with important things. As much as young MrBeast hated the idea of being the average person, it seemed as though he had no choice, and all he could do was accept his fate. It was then MrBeast discovered YouTube. He loved watching YouTube videos but never considered making videos of his own, until he was watching one of his favorite YouTubers' newest videos, in which he mentioned he quit his job to do YouTube. It clicked. MrBeast knew what he was going to do. He was going to make YouTube videos for the rest of his life. MrBeast started making commentary videos on YouTube, and he tried growing his channel. However, his obsessive character did not shine in this instance, as he was still playing baseball regularly with his friends. So he wasn't putting his 100% into YouTube, he was doing it more as a hobby. MrBeast didn't really care too much, and things would have likely stayed that way, until something no one could expect happened. At the age of 15, MrBeast was diagnosed with Crohn's disease. Because of this, he could no longer play baseball, as every few minutes he would have to run off to the bathroom, and it would continuously interrupt his playing experience. However, that was the least of his worries, as the pain he would get from simply swinging his bat was bewildering, and he was always extremely fatigued. With no choice, he had to give up baseball and stay at home all day. He was devastated. Baseball was his passion, and he could no longer play it. But instead of crying about it in his bedroom, he decided to capitalize off of this and use it as an opportunity to do what he had wanted to do in the first place: becoming a famous YouTuber. This is when things would take a turn. He began studying the biggest YouTubers and how much money that made, and started a series calculating the exact revenue they have earned through YouTube. He gained some traction from this, but not nearly enough to fulfill his desires. He tried filming skits with his friend, Chris, and he noticed the videos did a lot better and, to him, were a lot funnier. But he had still not gone viral. MrBeast was nearing the end of high school, and he was about to enter college. Unfortunately for him, he loathed the idea of having to go to college, and he hoped to have made enough money to convince his parents he would not need to go. However, he barely managed to scrape $30 a month, so not long after, he was forced to go to college. His YouTube dreams were looking far-fetched from here on out, but MrBeast pressed on and tried to keep his not-so-sustainable career alive. His mom, however, had other plans. MrBeast got caught skipping classes, and his mother was furious. She figured it was because of whatever he was doing on his computer, and demanded that he stops playing around, otherwise, he will get kicked out of the house. MrBeast had no money to live on his own, and he realized he had no choice but to comply, and he agreed to go to college. He would wake up early in the morning and leave the house, but not for college. He skipped all his classes and would instead film videos with Chris. MrBeast knew success was his only option, and failure would mean being broke and homeless out on the street. Lucky for him, his channel would begin to start growing faster and faster, and before he knew it he had earned enough money to afford a place nearby for himself. He later confesses to his mom about skipping classes, and tells her about his plans on moving out and becoming a famous YouTuber. Of course, she did not take him seriously. Nonetheless, she let him move out, since he had the means to take care of himself, and she was impressed to say the least. Even though he was able to take care of himself, he still hadn't reached the fame he was looking for. MrBeast decided to do things a bit differently.
I'm about to count to 100,000. You don't believe me? Just watch this video. All I want to say is, just tweet the video out, share it with, maybe Keem or Scarce, and if you're a YouTuber, just help a guy out. I mean, think of the pain I'm about to go.
It worked. Counting to 100,000 on stream worked. This was when it all made sense to him. If he wanted people to watch him, all he had to do was do interesting and unique things no one had even thought of doing before, and it is bound to attract an audience. Original content. That is the recipe to success. It was then when he used up all of his creativity into making the best, most original videos no one could even think of. He started popping into everyone's recommendation feed and no one could get rid of him. Lucky for him, no one wanted to. It looked like everyone loved MrBeast, and he had finally made it on YouTube. He figured this would be the peak of his online career. What was to come would be something he would never expect. In 2017, MrBeast received his first brand deal. He was offered $5,000 to promote a product, but he convinced them to double it and make it $10,000, as it would, quote-unquote, look better in the title. After enough persistence, they followed through, and MrBeast posts a video called "Donating $10,000 to a Homeless Man." This video went crazy on YouTube, and MrBeast figured if he kept reinvesting all the money he earned back into his videos, he would get his views up drastically. Although he was partially right, what was overlooked was the money he was making. After a few months of spending all his money on videos, he realized he was losing his money at a rapid rate, and he needed to do something about it. He tried selling merch, which did help temporarily but not for long. Then, MrBeast collaborated with a company called Outer Minds, and made a mobile game named MrBeast Tuber Simulator. However, this was not nearly enough money to fuel into videos of his scale. He had no idea what to do, until an idea popped into his head. He had it. He was going to take things up a notch, and start a virtual restaurant that sells burgers to everyone in the USA. Beast Burgers. This business worked wonders for him and he started making a lot of money from it. Similar to what he had been doing before, he gathered all the money he made and dumped it into his videos. However, he started making large-scale events and competitions for his subscribers to take part in, and the winner would receive a grand prize. More and more people were intrigued and even more subscribed as they too wanted a chance to enter these events. On top of the crazy views these videos would pull, MrBeast started also translating these videos in other languages and posting them to other channels, so other people all across the world can enjoy his videos. He also started a channel called Beast Philanthropy, which sole purpose was to give back and help people and leave an impact on them. This was when MrBeast started seeing his popularity really shoot up, and he would use this newfound fame for good causes. For instance, starting a fundraiser called Team Trees, that raised enough funds to plant well over 22 million trees all over the world. After seeing the impact that made on the world, MrBeast started another fundraiser called Team Seas, which helped remove 30 million pounds of trash from the sea. People started to see MrBeast's good heart, and unlike most celebrities, he actually had a keen eye on helping people and the environment. Till this very day, MrBeast still makes it his mission to help as many people as humanly possible. He is undoubtedly the kindest and most charitable person to exist, and he deserves all the success he acquired. After all, he made his dream a reality with nothing but a camera and insane dedication. With not much knowledge on how the internet works, he became obsessed with becoming better and better, until he reached the very top. It is safe to say after years and years of trying to master his craft, MrBeast's hard work has finally paid off.